I don't have any problem with the county of Bucks. You can go to the next slide. But I believe that the County of Bucks Department of Health, which I'm told politically has some kind of disagreement with the Pennsylvania Department of Health, coming up with a set of what I call relaxed guidelines for the opening of school. And I think it has grabbed the attention of many in the state, many superintendents who have that fatalistic feeling that whatever we do isn't going to work anyway, and we're going to close school, that there's no way I can socially distance children on a bus of 6 feet. There's no way I can socially distance students 6 feet in the classroom. We don't have enough classroom space. The parents seem to want us to start school as normal, that the County of Bucks has come up with a set of arguably feasible to implement guidelines that I'm not so sure would pass the muster of some of the more strict CDC guidelines and the guidelines of many task force, or for that matter, many states that have already implemented return to school guidelines. The only issue that I think has some merit is that temperature screening won't be required perhaps for entrance to school or staff, but it should be required in terms of employees self-certifying that they didn't experience any of the classic COVID-19 symptoms or put themselves in a risky situation where they may have been exposed over the past few weeks, or if they travel to an area which has now become a hotspot according to the CDC in terms of COVID-19. My firm requires that. They do it via a survey monkey on a regular basis when you go back to work. And that is meant to be a common courtesy. And last evening, I will tell you, in the district that I was at, the board was insistent that there be disciplinary consequences to employees if they didn't follow the designated rules because they're putting others at risk. So it's enough just establishing the rules and the like. Let's go on the County of Bucks slide. Here it says wearing masks will not be required of all students in school, but will be optional. Sorry about that. Extended use of masks will not be required, and there are there's not a mandatory requirement. Staff when not able to socially distance will either use a face shield or a mask. I am told by doctors that face shields are not nearly as effective in the spread or protection from COVID-19. Usually they're used in a hospital setting or in a dental office in addition to a mask to prevent eyes from being, or the face getting any water vapor or droplets exposed. But in terms of spreading it, face shields, which are clearly more comfortable to wear than a face mask, are not as effective. 6 foot distancing is not required under the County of Bucks idea. And the limitations are addressed. Next slide. And it says all high-touch surfaces will be disinfected regularly. Well, what does that mean? How often? All individuals in school will sanitize or wash their hands on a frequent basis. How is bathroom?
It's interesting to me, Jeff, that they're leaving the water fountains open, because most, if not all, of the guidance I'm reading, they're closing the use of water fountains. Instead, they're saying here to clean them.
That's correct. Water fountains were dirty pre-pandemic. I was concerned about them. Post-pandemic, it might be fatal. I shouldn't have said that, but I did.
Talk about the busing at the bottom there.
Okay, I will in a second. Before I get to that, I want to also address the fact that bathrooms are a major area. We have rules about the number of people go to the bathrooms, and I will tell you, and this is not a pleasant discussion, but analysis from what happened in Wuhan, China, for the COVID spread, that a large portion of the spread occurred via the use of bathrooms. When you flush the toilet, it does create a spray in the air if you don't have lids on your toilets. Most toilets in school buildings don't have lids on them. And you need to instruct people to close lids, maybe buy some lids, they're not that expensive. And you need to restrict the number of people in a bathroom, whether it be in your office space or in your buildings. Buses can operate to a maximum of 2 students per seat. That is not necessarily consistent with CDC views on the subject. And I will tell you that there are some people and some bus companies saying there's no way that you're going to enforce the kids wearing masks on a bus. And I fully understand the practicality and the cost of bus transportation in terms of reopening school. But I have to tell you that if I were a parent who had a child going on a school bus and I saw that you're going to have 2 or 3 kids per seat, I would not be a happy camper. And if, God forbid, certain children start contracting COVID-19, I'm going to be asking a lot of questions about the degree to which you have desired to engage in the safety of students. I know I say this with the fear that many of my clients will not be happy in terms of what I'm saying, but I'm telling you that the reality of bus transportation and athletics are the 2 Achilles heels of school districts dealing with reopening. And you have to figure out the best, admittedly most affordable way that you can ensure the safety of students. Next slide.
Jeff, before you get off that, we got a question under the Q&A. It said, how does the 3 feet social distancing meet guidelines? They note WHO, but everything that I've seen except for the Bucks guidance says 6 feet. Can you address that, please?
I wish I can talk on behalf of the County of Bucks. I don't know where that came from. I think it came from a practical reality saying what they feel that a school can do under the circumstances. I don't believe it was based upon any epidemiological study that I've seen, but I would say that the County of Bucks can certainly speak for itself. I'm not defending them or criticizing them. All I'm saying is that I haven't seen the justification for that, but it clearly provides, candidly, cover for school districts that happen to be situate in Bucks County and the Bucks County Intermediate Unit in terms of doing their reopening planning and social distancing. I'm just concerned that there isn't epidemiological weight for those conclusions. Next slide. And then the Department of Health will assist in the development of strategies similar to those successfully used with measles, pertussis, and other infectious diseases to allow classrooms and districts to remain open, and that the health department will take the lead on contact tracing. Not every district in the state has the benefit of having a Department of Health present to assist in that. High traffic hallway use will be limited when feasible. I will tell you, in the private sector, in hallways, we have arrows as to which direction you can go to eliminate social distancing. I see nothing about this in the Bucks County plan. Staggering or entering classroom periods, and partial required of masking in terms of high traffic hallway use. But that is ambiguous and gives leeway for whether or not you follow that or not. Next slide. Cafeterias, they will be seated in staggered arrangements. In most of the CDC and epidemiological issues, we see that cafeterias are closed. This is not the case in the county of Bucks. Not sure why, other than, once again, practical reality. And interscholastic athletic programs starting prior to that time, that they will help you navigate that issue. Remember that students who participate in athletics also integrate with other students who do not. And the question is, will those students wear masks after a contact-like event in the regular classroom environment or not? I don't see that part of the plan. Next slide.